Everyone, today, I stand before you not just to speak, but to remind every girl out there of the power she carries within herself. The world may not always be kind, and the journey may not always be smooth, but remember, the world doesn't define who you are. You do. From the moment we open our eyes to this world, we are bombarded with messages that tell us who we should be, what we should look like, how we should behave, and even how much we should dream. Society draws lines around us, whispering that if we dare to step beyond them, we will be judged, questioned, or worse, left behind. But in the midst of all this noise, I want you to pause for a moment and listen to a voice that is often drowned out. The voice inside you that says, "You are enough." We live in a world where comparisons are inevitable, whether it's social media that highlights picture-perfect lives, or the constant need to meet expectations set by family, friends, or society. There's always a subtle pressure to be something more. You scroll through pictures of others thinking they have it all together, and in that moment, self-doubt creeps in. You begin to question whether you are good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, or even worthy enough. But let me tell you this, perfection is an illusion. What you see on the surface is just a fraction of someone's reality. Everyone carries their own battles, insecurities, and fears. They just don't always show them. And even if they did, it would never change the truth that your worth is not tied to how others perceive you. You don't have to fit into a mold that was never meant for you. There is no rule book that says you need to look a certain way, act a certain way, or achieve specific milestones to be considered successful or worthy. Your value is not defined by the size of your waist, the smoothness of your skin, or the validation of others. It is not measured by how many followers you have, how many awards you win, or how many people approve of your choices. Your worth lies in the fact that you are here, breathing, dreaming, and existing, and that in itself is enough. We often get caught in the cycle of seeking validation from the world around us. We crave applause when we succeed and feel broken when that applause fades. But you don't need the world's applause to validate who you are. You don't need to exhaust yourself trying to meet standards that were never designed to celebrate your uniqueness. True fulfillment comes when you learn to applaud yourself, when you realize that your journey, with all its ups and downs, is uniquely yours and deserves to be honored. Being enough doesn't mean you have to stop growing or improving. Growth is a beautiful journey, but it should come from a place of self-love, not self-criticism. When you recognize that you are enough, you begin to grow because you want to, not because you feel the need to prove your worth. You strive to become a better version of yourself because you deserve to thrive, not because you are trying to earn someone's approval. Growth that stems from self-love is sustainable, empowering, and rooted in authenticity. You are allowed to have flaws, make mistakes, and take detours in life. These moments don't diminish your worth. They enhance your story. Every stumble teaches you resilience. Every heartbreak adds depth to your soul. Every setback carves out strength you never knew existed. And through it all, you remain enough. Your imperfections do not make you less. They make you real. And in a world that often glorifies perfection, being real is a rare and powerful gift. I want you to think about all the times you doubted yourself, questioned your abilities, or felt like you weren't measuring up. Now, imagine what would happen if you replaced that doubt with belief. What if instead of asking, "Am I good enough?" you told yourself, "I am more than enough"? What if instead of seeking validation, you gave yourself permission to shine exactly as you are? Imagine the freedom that comes with embracing your true self, unapologetically and wholeheartedly. When you begin to see yourself through the lens of compassion and love, the world changes. You stop shrinking to fit spaces that were never meant for you. You stop silencing your voice to make others comfortable. You stop hiding your brilliance because you fear outshining others. Instead, you step into your power, fully aware that your existence is a gift to this world. There is nothing wrong with wanting to improve, to grow, and to evolve, but never let the desire to be better make you forget that you are already worthy as you are. You are a masterpiece in progress, but even unfinished, you are still breathtaking. You don't need to chase perfection, because you are already whole, and wholeness is far more beautiful than perfection will ever be. So when the world tries to tell you that you need to be someone else to be loved, when it tries to convince you that your worth is tied to achievements, appearances, or approvals, I want you to stand tall and say, I am enough. Because the moment you believe that, truly believe it, is the moment you set yourself free. And a girl who knows she is enough is unstoppable. She walks through life with her head held high, not because she is arrogant, but because she knows her worth. She doesn't wait for the world to give her permission to shine. She simply does. Strength is not always loud. It doesn't always come with a roar or an earth-shattering presence. Sometimes, strength is quiet. It's in the way you pick yourself up after falling, in the way you keep going when everything inside you is begging you to give up. Strength is found in those moments when you choose to speak up, even when your voice shakes, and in the times when you say no to things that no longer serve you. But here's the thing. The world isn't always kind to strong women. It tries to label strength as arrogance, confidence as defiance, and independence as rebellion. And because of that, many of us are taught to shrink ourselves, to tone down our strength, and to apologize for being too much. But you, my dear, should never apologize for being strong. Strength is not something to hide or be ashamed of. It is something to celebrate. You don't have to make yourself smaller just to make others comfortable. You don't have to dim your light to let others shine. Your strength is not a threat, and it is certainly not something that needs to be softened for the sake of others. The world may try to tell you that being too opinionated, too ambitious, or too bold makes you difficult to love or hard to understand. But that is not your burden to carry. You were not born to fit into the narrow definitions of what society thinks a woman should be. You were born to shatter those definitions and create your own path. When you stand up for yourself, when you speak your truth, and when you refuse to settle for less than what you deserve, you are exercising a strength that has been passed down through generations of women who refused to be silenced. Their voices echo in your courage, and their resilience lives in your spirit. So, when you speak with conviction and hold your ground, remember that you are not just standing up for yourself. You are honoring the legacy of countless women who fought to give you that right. People may not always understand your strength. They might say you're intimidating, too outspoken, or difficult to deal with. But that's because strong women challenge the status quo. They refuse to conform, and that makes people uncomfortable. But discomfort is where growth happens. So if your strength makes others uneasy, let it. You are not responsible for making others feel comfortable with your power. There will be moments when you'll be asked to tone it down, to be less assertive, to soften your words, or to compromise your values. But remember, compromising who you are to please others is a battle you will never win. You don't owe anyone a diluted version of yourself. You don't need to apologize for taking up space, for having opinions, or for wanting more out of life. Strength means knowing your worth and refusing to settle for anything less. It means walking away from situations that don't align with your values, even if it means walking alone. It means protecting your peace, your dreams, and your heart, even when the world tells you to compromise. Strong women aren't always the loudest in the room, but they are the ones who refuse to stay silent when it matters most. Strength is not about dominating others or proving your worth to the world. It's about knowing who you are and standing firm in that truth, regardless of who approves. Strength is choosing to walk away from what no longer serves you, even when staying feels easier. It's in choosing yourself when the world tells you that you should be choosing someone else. There will be days when being strong feels exhausting, days when you question if it's worth it. And on those days, I want you to remember that true strength is not about never feeling weak. It's about acknowledging your vulnerability and showing up anyway. It's about allowing yourself to feel, to break, and then to rise again. Strength is not about being unbreakable. It's about knowing that even if you break, you can always put yourself back together. Being strong means setting boundaries and refusing to allow people to cross them. It means saying no when your heart says no, even if the world expects a yes. It means standing up for yourself, even when your voice is the only one in the room. It means being unapologetically yourself, even when that makes others uncomfortable. And yes, that kind of strength will intimidate some people. But that's okay, because the people who are meant to be in your life will never ask you to be less than who you are. They will celebrate your strength, not try to diminish it. You were not created to be small. You were not put on this earth to play it safe or to hide your light. You were born to be bold, to be brave, and to take up space in this world. Your strength is your superpower, and you should never feel the need to apologize for it. Every time you stand in your power, you give permission to other women to do the same. You become a beacon of hope for the girl who is still learning to embrace her strength. So hold your head high and walk unapologetically in your truth. Let your strength speak louder than your words, and let your courage inspire those around you. You owe no one an apology for being strong, for being fierce, and for refusing to settle for less. The world doesn't need you to be less. It needs you to be exactly who you are. Strong, powerful, and unapologetically you. The world we live in often tries to define boundaries for us. Boundaries of what is possible, boundaries of what is achievable, boundaries of what we are allowed to dream. It tells us to play it safe, to stay within the lines, to be realistic. But what if the limits we see aren't the limits at all? What if the only boundaries that truly exist are the ones we impose on ourselves? From an early age, we are taught to dream big. But often those big dreams are still shaped within the confines of what others think is possible. We are told that if we work hard enough, we might achieve great things. But at the same time, there are always subtle messages telling us to stay grounded, to be realistic, and to settle for what's practical. But I want you to ask yourself this: who defines what's practical? Who sets the boundaries of what is achievable? Is it the voices of those who are too afraid to step outside their own comfort zones? Or is it the voice inside you that refuses to accept limitations? When you dream, dream without constraints. Dream without the voice of doubt telling you that something is impossible. Dream without looking at your current circumstances and wondering how it could ever happen. You see, the power of a dream lies not in the how, but in the belief that it is possible. The moment you start asking, how can I do this? Instead of saying, can I do this? You begin to shift your mindset from limitations to possibilities. You stop allowing your circumstances to dictate your dreams, and you start using your dreams to change your circumstances. The only true limits are the ones you place on yourself. The world will try to box you in, tell you that certain dreams are only for certain types of people, or that your background, your gender, or your situation somehow disqualifies you from greatness. But don't let that narrow view restrict your vision. You are not confined to the limitations that society tries to impose on you. You are not defined by where you come from, by your age, or by your gender. You are defined by your potential, by the fire that burns inside of you, and by the audacity to believe that you can achieve what others consider impossible. So many of us spend our lives negotiating with fear, worrying that we will never be good enough, smart enough, or capable enough to achieve our dreams. We focus too much on the obstacles, too much on the doubts, and not enough on the possibilities. We tell ourselves it's too big, too risky, too far out of reach, and in doing so, we limit ourselves before we even start. But I want you to understand this: your dreams are never too big. They may seem daunting, but they are never out of reach. The only thing that stands between you and your dreams is the belief that you can't achieve them. It's time to let go of the idea that dreams should be realistic, that they should be in line with what others think is possible. True greatness, true innovation, and true change come from those who are willing to dream beyond the borders of reality. The greatest achievements in human history were not the results of playing it safe, of being realistic, or of adhering to the limits set by others. They were the results of people who dared to imagine a world that didn't yet exist, and then worked tirelessly to make that vision a reality. These visionaries didn't see barriers, they saw opportunities. I want you to think about the dreamers who changed the world. Think about the innovators, the inventors, the activists, the leaders who started with nothing but a belief that they could make a difference. Think about those who dared to dream beyond what was considered possible in their time. They didn't just change their own lives, they changed the course of history, and they did it by refusing to accept the limitations others tried to place on them. They didn't listen to the voices telling them they were too young, too old, too inexperienced, or too naive. They listened to their own hearts, to the pull of their purpose, and to the belief that they were capable of achieving something great. Your dreams are no different. Your aspirations are just as valid and powerful as theirs. And just like those visionaries, you are capable of breaking through barriers, of overcoming obstacles, and of achieving things that others might say are impossible. The difference is that you must first believe in the possibility of it all. If you can dream it, you can achieve it. But you have to dream beyond the limits. You have to envision a future that doesn't yet exist, and then take the necessary steps to create it. The path to your dreams will not always be easy. There will be setbacks, failures, and moments of doubt. But each failure is not a reason to stop dreaming. It's simply a lesson in how to approach your dream differently. Each challenge is a chance to grow stronger, to refine your vision, and to get closer to what you truly desire. And the key is to never stop dreaming. Even when things seem impossible, even when the road feels too long, you must continue to believe that your dreams are worth pursuing. Don't let anyone tell you that your dreams are too big. Don't let anyone convince you that you need to be more realistic or that your goals are out of reach. Your dreams are the seeds of your future, and they are worth nurturing no matter how big they may seem. The world doesn't need more people who are afraid to dream beyond the limits. It needs more people who are willing to take risks, to imagine the impossible, and to turn those dreams into reality. So dream beyond limits, dream without hesitation, dream without fear, and then take the steps necessary to turn those dreams into your reality. The sky isn't the limit, your mind is. The only thing that can hold you back is your own willingness to limit yourself. If you refuse to accept those limits, there is nothing you cannot achieve. Life is a journey filled with moments of joy, moments of pain, and everything in between. Throughout this journey, we inevitably face challenges, heartbreaks, and obstacles that leave their marks on us. But rather than viewing these marks as something to hide or be ashamed of, I want to encourage you to embrace your scars. These scars, both physical and emotional, are not weaknesses. They are symbols of your resilience, your strength, and your capacity to endure. The scars we carry are often seen as reminders of our pain, and for many, they are difficult to accept. We try to hide them, cover them up, or even pretend they don't exist. Society tells us that we should be flawless, that we should show no signs of struggle, and that our pain should be buried beneath a smile. But I want you to understand something fundamental. Your scars are not signs of defeat. They are proof that you survived. They are the testimony of your ability to rise again and again, no matter how many times life knocked you down. Every scar tells a story. It may be the story of a heartbreak that shattered your heart into 1,000 pieces, but taught you the importance of self-love and resilience. It could be the story of a failure that left you feeling like you weren't enough, but ultimately showed you that growth comes through adversity. Perhaps it's the story of a loss that broke you, yet somehow you found the strength to keep moving forward. These scars represent more than just pain. They represent your journey, your growth, and your incredible ability to heal and continue moving forward. When we think of scars, we often think of something unsightly, something that we wish we could erase. But I want you to ask yourself this. If you erase your scars, if you remove the very things that make you who you are, what would be left? Your scars are not imperfections. They are part of the masterpiece that is you. They make you unique. They are a testament to everything you have survived, to every battle you fought and won, and to every lesson you've learned along the way. It's easy to look at others and think they have it all together. Social media shows us curated images of people's lives, and we compare our behind-the-scenes struggles to their highlight reels. We look at people who seem perfect, who seem unscathed, and wonder why we carry our scars so visibly. But the truth is, everyone has scars. They just don't always wear them on the outside. We all have wounds, and we all have pain. Some of us have learned to wear our scars proudly, while others are still hiding them, still pretending that they don't exist. But your scars are nothing to be ashamed of. They are a sign of your survival, and they deserve to be acknowledged, honored, and celebrated. In a world that often encourages perfection, embracing your scars is an act of defiance. It's saying, I am not perfect, and that's okay. I am strong because I have survived. I am beautiful because I have healed. When you embrace your scars, you are taking ownership of your story. You are refusing to let your past define you, but instead, you are allowing it to empower you. Your scars are proof that you didn't give up. They are evidence of your strength and determination to keep going, even when life felt unbearable. The process of healing isn't easy, and it's not linear. There will be days when the scars still hurt, when the memories come rushing back, and when you question if you're truly healed. But that's part of the journey. Healing doesn't mean erasing the past. It means learning to live with it, learning to make peace with it, and learning to find beauty in the brokenness. Your scars are part of your story, and no part of your story is ever wasted. The strength it takes to heal is immense. It requires vulnerability, courage, and the willingness to face your pain head-on. But once you embrace your scars, you realize something incredibly freeing. They no longer have the power to define you. You define yourself. You choose how to see your scars. You choose whether they are a burden or a badge of honor. When you accept that your scars are part of who you are, you free yourself from the weight of shame and regret. You let go of the notion that you must be flawless to be worthy. There is power in embracing your scars. They connect you to others in a way that nothing else can. They remind you that you are not alone in your struggles. Everyone has faced pain. Everyone has scars. When you embrace your own scars, you give others permission to embrace theirs too. You show them that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be imperfect, and it's okay to have been broken. It's through our scars that we connect, that we find our shared humanity, and that we realize we are stronger together than we are apart. There is a beauty in the scars that people often fail to see. The scars you carry, whether visible or hidden, are not signs of weakness. They are symbols of growth, resilience, and the incredible strength it takes to keep going, no matter how difficult the journey. Every scar tells a story of survival, and that story deserves to be heard. So, I urge you to stop hiding your scars, stop pretending they don't exist, and stop thinking of them as something to be ashamed of. Embrace them. Own them. Let them remind you of how far you've come and how strong you truly are. Wear your scars with pride, for they are the marks of a warrior. They are the evidence that you are a survivor. And above all, they are the proof that you are more than enough, just as you are. In a world where we are constantly taught to be accommodating, to please others, and to never rock the boat, saying no often feels like a betrayal. We fear rejection, we fear disappointing those around us, and we worry about the consequences of setting boundaries. But here's a truth that many of us need to hear. The power of saying no is one of the greatest tools you can wield in your life. It is a tool of self-respect, self-preservation, and self-love. Learning to say no doesn't make you selfish. It makes you strong. We often find ourselves saying yes to things that drain us, to people who don't value our time or energy, and to commitments that leave us feeling overwhelmed and exhausted. We say yes because we want to avoid conflict, because we don't want to disappoint anyone, or because we are afraid of how people will perceive us. But what happens when we constantly say yes to others and neglect our own needs? We burn out. We lose our sense of self. We become resentful, stressed, and unhappy. And in the end, we are left with nothing but an empty well, unable to give anything more to anyone. But when you learn the power of saying no, you take back control of your life. You take back your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. Saying no is not about being rude or rejecting others. It's about protecting your own well-being. It's about valuing yourself enough to acknowledge your limits and to honor your own needs. The more you say no to the things that drain you, the more space you create for the things that truly matter. Saying no doesn't mean you are shutting people out or being unkind. It simply means that you are choosing to prioritize yourself. And that, my dear, is a radical act of self-love. Think about it. How often do you say yes to something just to avoid confrontation, only to find yourself regretting it later? How many times have you agreed to do something for someone else while sacrificing your own well-being, your time, or your peace of mind? It's easy to get caught in the cycle of pleasing others, but it's also incredibly damaging to your mental, emotional, and physical health. Learning to say no can be difficult, especially when you are conditioned to believe that saying yes is the only way to be liked or valued. But I want you to understand this. You are not here to please everyone. You are not here to constantly put yourself last in the name of being kind or helpful. You are here to live authentically, to honor your own needs, and to show up for yourself just as much as you show up for others. And in doing so, you will find that the right people will respect your boundaries and appreciate you more for the strength it takes to say no. One of the most powerful things you can do for yourself is learn to recognize when your plate is full. We often try to juggle too many things at once, thinking that we have to be everything to everyone. We take on more responsibilities, more tasks, more commitments, until we reach a breaking point. But what if you learn to say no before you reach to that point? What if you recognized your limits and honored them before you burned out? Saying no also means protecting your time. Time is one of the most valuable resources we have, and once it's gone, we can never get it back. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your values or goals, you are saying no to something else, something that could bring you joy, peace, or growth. When you say no to things that drain you, you create space for the things that light you up. You free yourself to pursue your passions, to nurture your relationships, and to focus on the things that truly matter to you. The power of saying no is not just about saying no to others. It's about saying no to the negative self-talk, to the doubts, and to the limiting beliefs that hold you back. It's about saying no to the fear that you aren't good enough, that you don't deserve happiness, or that you need to earn love and approval. When you say no to those thoughts, you make room for self-compassion, for self-confidence, and for the belief that you are worthy of living your truth. But saying no is not always easy, especially when you are used to putting others first. We have been conditioned to believe that being kind means saying yes, that being generous means giving without boundaries, and that being supportive means never saying no. But this is a dangerous mindset. Saying no is not selfish. It is an act of self-preservation. It is a way to honor yourself, your energy, and your time. And when you say no to things that no longer serve you, you are making space for things that are aligned with your highest good. It's also important to understand that not everyone will understand your need to say no. Some people may be disappointed, upset, or frustrated. But that is not your responsibility. You are not here to be everything to everyone, and you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give your best if you are constantly depleting yourself for the sake of others. People who truly care for you will respect your boundaries and understand that when you say no, it is not because you don't care about them, but because you care about yourself too. Saying no is a form of empowerment. It's about reclaiming your autonomy, your voice, and your ability to make choices that honor your well-being. It's about standing firm in your values and refusing to let anyone take advantage of your kindness or your time. It's about realizing that your worth is not determined by how much you give to others, but by how much you value yourself. So, I urge you to embrace the power of saying no. Don't be afraid to set boundaries, to prioritize your own needs, and to protect your peace. Saying no is not a weakness. It is a strength. It is the first step toward living an authentic, empowered life where you put yourself first, and in doing so, you create space for everything else that is meant for you. In conclusion, the power of saying no is a transformative force in your life. It's about creating space for what truly matters, for protecting your time, your energy, and your well-being. Saying no doesn't make you selfish or unkind. It makes you strong, self-aware, and courageous. It allows you to set boundaries, prioritize your own needs, and stop sacrificing your happiness for the sake of pleasing others. By embracing the strength to say no, you're not only empowering yourself but also creating the opportunity to be more present and intentional in the areas of your life that align with your values and passions. You stop allowing external pressures to define your worth, and you start defining your life on your own terms. Saying no is a powerful act of self-respect, and it's a reminder that you are worthy of peace, balance, and love. So, let this be a reminder. Saying no is not an act of rejection, but an act of affirmation. Affirming your own worth, affirming your right to peace, and affirming your ability to live a life that serves you and your true purpose. Say no when necessary, and remember that doing so doesn't make you any less of a person. It makes you more intentional, more powerful, and more aligned with the person you are becoming.